Okay, now it says connecting to cloud server. Oh, I heard it just now. Recording in progress. So shall we start?
Yes, please, yes.
Sure. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Book Brewers, this March session. So thank you for being here. My name is Diaz. I'll be the moderator for today's session. And then, Suryani, is this your really first time here? So it's like a
Yes.
debut then. So it's like a debut then.
Yeah.
For if you're a K-pop idol, this is your debut date. Please do remember. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So welcome everyone, and why don't we just start the session? Can we start from okay? Since Pipit is you're still on your way, right, Pipit and Fajar? You don't have any book to share. Is it correct? And then okay, so why don't we start with Donald then? Donald will present the This is Marketing. Oh, okay, this is good by Seth Godin. Donald, please start.
Yes,
Question. Yes.
do you have a list of questions for us? Yes, or up to me? Do you have a list of questions to follow?
Oh yeah,
Or
we just follow the our template, which is the first one is the title of the book and what it's about, and then the your decision to read the book. Why did you start? Why did you start, and why did you choose that book? Then what are your key takeaways from the books, and then questions from the audience. I'll just put it in the chat box as well. Yeah.
okay, thank you, Diaz.
Mhm.
Thank you everyone for the time. My name is Donald, and I'm going to present my book. The title of the book is This is Marketing by Seth Godin. That is the title. And why did I choose to read this book? Because after reading quite a lot of history books, I want to read something different. In this case, a business book. Usually I read history, recent history. And Seth Godin is a famous writer in the marketing space. And this is like the book that collects his other thoughts. It's quite recent. I think 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And he already wrote for many years. And this is like the book that collects his many other ideas. So that
Mhm.
is why. And the next thing is what are the key takeaways? There are several things. So it is quite difficult to know where to start because there are so many angles that we can take. So we need to know who we market to. We need to know the target audience first. And usually in the world of business or in the world of startup, they use something called minimum viable product. It is a common term in the world of business, minimum viable product, meaning when you want to launch a product, you do not wait until you have all the features. You just have the minimum viable. But Seth Godin uses a different term based on that. It is called the smallest viable market, meaning you try to find the smallest group possible that resonate with your message. And there are three things in his repertoire, if I were to say. So the first one is stories. We need to have stories related to what we sell. Secondly, we need to build connection with them and among them. And thirdly, we need to build the experience. And we need to understand, and maybe this is an important takeaway. And actually, if we look at so many things, we can see that this is true. That what we sell, well, I will move backward. Someone says that when someone buys a drill, actually they do not want to buy a drill, but a hole on the wall. So a marketing professor said that. Jose Godin said, well, that is wrong. Nobody wants to have a hole in the wall. Who wants to have a hole in the wall? Instead, people want the good feeling of the picture that is hung on the wall thanks to the hole on the wall. So in short, what people want is actually the feeling. People buy the feeling. And marketer just try to find new ways to give people this emotion that they want. And people have different kind of emotion that they want, but they are not good at finding new ways to fulfill this emotion. And that is the job of the marketer. They need to know the emotion and then they need to connect with that emotion. When I watch CNN, this is just an example. This morning, I want to watch the video on the website and I have to go through an ad, and the ad is by Singapore Airlines. And actually, they already follow this principle. They don't talk about the airplane, they don't talk about what you get when you are inside the airplane. Instead, the story, there is a short story, a few seconds in the ad, and at the end, it is not about where you go, it is about building connection with people you love. Wow, so it's just like what Seth Godin said, just the feeling you get. Nobody cares about the traveling itself, but it is about building the emotion with the people you care about. Yeah, so that is a key takeaway from this. And there are many others actually, maybe later in the question, because there are too many and I don't know where to start. Okay, that's all. Thank you, Dias.
Thank you, Donald. Anyone would like to ask questions about the book to Donald since he's reading? Is this kind of your a new genre of what you're usually reading, right? Because you're usually reading about histories and then about the military, but this time it's about marketing, and this is by Seth Godin as well. Question.
Actually, I read many business books, so I'm
Mm.
familiar with the terms.
Okay. Sure, Peter, go ahead. Yeah, my question is, I think the biggest, one of the biggest challenges in marketing is before we even start, people are skeptical to what we say, right? Because they know we have a goal in mind that we want to sell something. How do we somehow face their skepticism? Is there any part of the book talk about that?
Okay, thank you, Pipit. Yes, that is true. People are skeptic. That is why the book emphasizes. Again, this is something that is mentioned but in the book, but it will not come out from me if this not asked. But because of the question asked this, then this is the thing I will present. The book says that you must target the early adopter. So there is this chart crossing the chasm. This is a famous chart in the business world. In the beginning, you can only target the early adopter, and then you will get more and more people until at the very end you get the laggard. I think that is the term. So you target only the early adopter. It is a mistake to, according to the book, it is a mistake to try to target as many people as possible, because that means you try to target the middle of the chart, and the people in the middle of the chart will not accept something new. Instead, you must target the early adopter, the left side of the chart. It is small, that's why the term is the smallest viable audience. It is small, but these are the people who are always seeking something new to try. So they are more open to new ideas. They are early adopter. And after you get early adopter, you need to, of course, not everyone is the right early adopter. That's why there is stories. You need to know what they want and you connect or share your story. Actually, there are three parts of the story. Story of me, so about the company or the person, why they found this solution, and then the story of us, why we need to be in this together, and the story of now, why we need to be in this now. So creating urgency. There are three parts of the stories. And after you connect through story with this early adopter, then you need to give something to them to tell to the rest of the people. So you are moving through this chart. Any other question?
Uh, repeat. Okay. Donald, I'd like to ask questions. Because you're reading about the marketing, and then it says that marketing, it's
Yes, I
nowadays
said,
it's more.
okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. It's more towards stories. Do you have a brand that do you have a brand that you can think right away, oh, this is one of the examples then when you're reading this book, because it mentions about the stories and how to build connections, and then how to rebrand the brand itself. You think of, oh, I think this brand really is the good example of what Seth Godin mentioned in the book.
Well, I don't think of any brand in particular, but just to take random example of things that I often encounter, like for example, the company that is trending now, Nvidia is trending. I think number
Mm,
2 or number 3 in the top
mm,
companies in the world
mm,
based on market capitalization. The CEO, Jensen Huang, always wear this jacket, the black jacket. So that is a form of story actually, telling that we are at the forefront. If you want to be cool and trendy, you follow NVIDIA, the technology. Actually, it's similar to Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs did something similar, but Steve Jobs already passed away in 2011. And NVIDIA does something similar. It's a form of storytelling, actually, by always wearing this black jacket.
okay. For me, what came to my mind when I heard about stories and then the brand itself, I remember of a brand which the CEO or the owner is your twin brother. Good, because it started as a story from him when he could not find a good transportation going to his point of meeting, and then he was charged with a very bad numbers, going only from point here to point, for example, from point A to point B with a very high price. Then he decided to make Gojek. That's why that's what came to my mind because I saw this book about 2 weeks ago, and I saw the short explanation regarding the book. Then I can think, oh, this is reminds me of Gojek actually. So I was actually glad that you decided to discuss about the book. Okay. Thank you. That's a comment from me. Any comments maybe from Fajar or
Um,
from Suryani?
Maybe this is not exactly related to book, but it's question about the advertisement itself. Why does some very famous or big brand still advertise in big media while they are already very famous? Like for example, like Indomie, they still make some ads in TV, or like Gojek, or like uh, yeah, cigarettes. I feel like they spend so much money, but at the same time, people already know about the ads. It's about the brand itself, right? So why do they keep spending so much money for that? Maybe anyone knows.
Yeah, thank you, Fajar. It's actually in the book. So in the book, there are two kinds of marketing: direct marketing and brand marketing. Direct marketing is the kind of marketing that you measure every step of the way. The technical term is every step of the funnel, and you want to find the cost, the conversion rate at every step until you get a sale. So that is called direct marketing. But there is another kind of marketing, which is called brand marketing. With brand marketing, you do not do that. You do not measure every step. Instead, you just want to build your position in the consumer's mind. That is called the brand marketing. You want to put your brand in the consumer's mind so it becomes top of mind. When they remember this category, they remember you. And you cannot measure the result directly, but it is a long-term strategy because you want to be top of mind. You want to be associated with the category. Ideally, people will equate your category with your brand name. For example, just Google it. Actually, there are many other search engines like Bing and some others, but people just say Google it. So that is the prime example of being top of mind. And brand marketing is done for this purpose.
Also,
Okay,
it's an example from
I
Gojek.
think that it will
I keep on
stay
mentioning
relevant.
Gojek.
That's why they have to keep on going. Like, so, the brand.
I think this is okay. I'll just continue. It's also an example from Gojek. Again, I mentioned Gojek first because Donald is really the twin brother of Gojek's owner, and second, because it's a book about marketing. So Gojek is also because one of my friends work in Gojek, and he said that Gojek really put a big number of their budget to always make um advertising on TV, even though they do know that the user of Gojek is mostly are millennials who really don't watch TVs anymore. They more towards YouTube, and then they are slowly leaving the TVs behind them, but still they do make because they want to they target the other audience or the other group of their target market. They want to be the top of mind. So even though you're ordering Grab or you're ordering even Bluebird, people will always mention, why don't you just use Gojek, because it's for GoFood, it's for GoSend, it's for they have nowadays they have GoMart, they have also GoCar, but still they do want their brand to be on top of their mind. So that's one of the reasons.
Uh,
Okay.
but of course, at the same time, people still consider the cost, right? I mean, some people like prefer driver because it's cheaper, they say. They also prefer maybe like Gaga noodle because it's cheaper. Yeah. Yeah, but
Still,
yeah, I mean, selling is complicated lah.
but it's the alternative, not the top of mind. Their goal for this marketing is become the very first priority. We do know because with people who always get exposure with that, then they do know what kind of the other alternatives. But for the regular people, they will only know what's the very main of each brand or each category. So it's a good example. Yeah. Suryani, do you have any questions? Maybe
Um,
not now, or
since
maybe later.
actually, since this will be my very first time here, so I think it's a big question to Donald. It's like I don't know whether it does mention in that book about what about for the newest like businessman. This is very new, like very small business. Do they mention in that book how are they going to work with the marketing stuff as well? Like how are they going to build their brand and everything? So yeah, I'm just curious about it. Thank you. Thank you, Diaz.
Thank you, Suryani, for the question. Actually, the principle in the book applies to all kinds of business, from the small one to the big ones. For something new, it says you need to know the kind of audience that you want to serve. It gives an example. There is this key and the lock. So the key is the hole, I think the keyhole, and then the lock. You need to know the keyhole first, and then you build the lock, and not the opposite. So you need to know the target market first, and then you build products for them, instead of building a product and then try to find who will buy this product. So that is the advice, the key advice in the book. So you need to know first the audience, the target market, and then you can actually build any kinds of services for this target market. But most businesses, I think they start with the product and then try to find the customer for this product. So it's the opposite according to this book.
Thank you, Donald, for the explanations of the book. I think we can give a big round of applause for Donald.
Yes.
Thank you, Donald. Mm-hmm.
Actually, I want to give a comment about
Oh, sure.
Fajar's your question before Suryani.
Sure.
So about price, there is a term if the business focus on price and try to get cheaper and cheaper. It is called a commodity. Commodity means you are the cheapest one, and people buy your product only because it is the cheapest. And that is a bad way to do business, according to this book. Because when another product gets cheaper than you, then they will switch. And actually, that is the purpose of telling stories and building connections. Again, stories, connection, experience. The goal of having these three is so that you resonate with these people and they are loyal to you despite the price. For example, Apple is more expensive, the products usually, than, not usually, I think all Apple products are more expensive than other products, but many people still buy because of the stories, connections, and experience. Yeah, that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald, for the explanations of the book. And it reminds me again of what the lecturer told me in the one of the in one of the I think one of my mata kuliah was pengantar ilmu marketing, and this is kind of a self reminder for me. Thank you, Donald. And shall we move on to Fajar? Yeah, can you share about the article you'd like to, you'd like to discuss?
Maybe later lah. I have to prepare it first.
Sure. Okay. Since if it's still preparing after arriving, why don't Suryani start?
Okay, thank you so much, Diaz. Again, hi everyone. So it just like I don't know if you guys have known this book, Tuesdays with Maury. So this will be one of my favorite list among all of my books. I mean here. So this book is exactly for everybody, I think. I cried the whole week. Yeah. Yeah, yes, you're right. So I think it's a very sentiment book, I think, just to tell how life is very mm, very valuable, and we have to really understand about ourselves as well. So this one actually talking about a Professor Mori who happened to teach in a college and pretty much close with one of his students by the day that he was diagnosed to have that kind of illness. That illness cost him a lot, much from his life. It was like he was not able to move because part of his body, starting from his leg up here, it was paralyzed. But then it is not like coming all at once. It comes like um, bit by bit, starting from his leg. So by then, the thing that I understand is that part of the first one, I realized sometimes that we need to be more thoughtful and considerate by the words that we are using towards somebody whenever someone is actually facing things. And so Mori actually mentioned in his book is that he started to feel vulnerable at the same time. By the time that he needs somebody, he's the caregiver, like to take care of himself like this, and he was not even able just to clean his body. So the moment that it was very sad for him, but then he realized that everybody need to learn something from his journey, from his illness. Then he started to make documentation from all of this, the soaring, and the time that this professor, the Mori, I mean the Professor Mori, starting to appear in front of the television, the condition, and also the condolence that his friends give. So it makes him realize that yeah, the moment that I share my story in life, surviving from this illness, I think the moment that I feel that I'm very thankful that I have a lot of people around me. So the only one lesson that I got from this book is that being considerate and love just the people around you. I think if you really see somebody that need help and also they're being so sick, probably giving your ear and yeah, all ears, and then also just say some good words will help. So Tuesday with Maurice, I think one of my Korean friends say that yeah, they learn about this book during their literature time at their school because this book has much to offer to the table, I guess. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Suryani. As I wrote that I cried the whole week, and I must mention that I did not only cry but sob. You know, in bahasa Indonesia, maybe kesenggukan, like it's like even hard to read. So, any questions, or maybe has anyone also read this book, because it's one of the most favorite and most I think also the best selling from Mitchell book.
Yeah.
Just
Can you share one of the most memorable lesson that you have from the book?
I probably I will just can I just read the line instead of like sharing because I think that it is more genuine if I read it
Okay,
like
sure,
that.
sure.
Okay. Um, hang on, I think. Um, while I'm finding it, yes, oh, you might just Karen a little bit. So is that okay?
so since Suryani is currently picking the favorite line of hers, and also maybe uh the most part the part that impacted her the most, I guess. Um, may I mention as well that Mitch Albom is one of the best-selling authors for fiction, and mostly I think the fictions is about uh journey towards half life, half death. So um if you're in a good condition to read, or you would like to have a like an not emotional, but a good cry, or maybe something to learn about life, and you must be in a very good condition to read that. I think it's also a good breakaway from something non-fiction, I guess, for this for Mitch Albom's book, whichever title, because most of them are uh, emotional, I guess, because I haven't met not even one person did not cry. So if you did not cry, please do tell me, because everyone that I know, they cry a lot when they read this book. So have you found the line, Riani?
Yes, yes.
Sure.
Thank you, Tias, for helping me that. So, Fajar, here it is. I remembered what Maurice said during our visit. The culture we have does not make people feel good about themselves, and you have to be strong enough to say if the culture doesn't work, don't buy it. Was it pretty clear? I mean,
Can you repeat?
okay, my voice. All right. So I remember what Maury said during our visit. The culture we have does not make people feel good about themselves. And you have to be strong enough to say if the culture doesn't work, don't buy it.
Okay, interesting.
What does it mean?
Well,
What does it mean? If I mean, like during about the story of this Mori during his journey, actually finding himself is not going to find the cure for him for his illness. I think that some people are going to say that yourself is just, oh my God, how are you like having this kind of illness while somebody is still okay just to walk around and then hanging around with their friends. So words, I think it's very important just to say something, like being very considerate and also be careful with everything that you say to somebody. We might think that we are very considerate without seeing someone else condition, but in this story that sometimes when somebody doesn't really appreciate or value just the way you are, I think just don't buy it. Just these lately people are just like that. Like some people might say that you are just not enough for this and that, but I think that you might feel that if it is okay for you and it's good to the society, I think it is something not wrong by doing that, then just do it. Just don't buy any words, any bad words or the, yeah, bad or good, we are the one who just see it, right? So yeah, anything that make you in a bad condition or cause you something in your mental health, I think just don't buy it, right?
I have question about that.
Yes, miss.
How do we tell that that is just a word to put us down, or it's a genuine criticism towards us?
Is sorry again.
How do we differentiate if those
Yeah.
words are
Oh,
intentionally to put us down, or it's a genuine criticism towards us?
yeah. Okay. So I think I read one book last time, or someone said to me, everything that happened in our life, actually, we are the one who put the meaning on it, right? So whether we are going to put the meaning, a bad meaning or a good meaning, but genuinely someone that would try to just pull you from, let's just say, a black hole, I think they might say something good about you. But about how genuine people, I think that nowadays, it's pretty hard for us just to find is she being genuine or is he being kind or is he just being so manipulative? So about it, Miss Pipit, I think that we need to be more we need to be wiser to understand and to choose who are we going to talk to and whom are we going to listen to. Miss Pipit. Okay.
Okay, I will try to read the book because it seems
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Fajar.
It's a very famous book.
Yeah.
But Suryani, have you ever read as well the wait a second. I have my for one more day.
Oh, one more day. I have it, but I got the book, The Five People You Meet in Heaven.
Mm,
That's
okay.
so sad.
For one more day, for me, I did try for 2 weeks. So it's even worse than this.
I know,
Okay.
even this one I cried a lot as well, but
Okay.
I have a question,
yes, Donald.
Briani.
Yeah, sure thing.
As it turns out, this is a very popular book, but I never heard of it before this.
The gender that we go through is totally different, I guess.
Yeah, I cannot believe I have never heard this book.
Yeah.
So my question is, how did you find this book, and what are other books that are similar to this? But the first one, how did you find this book?
Okay. So it happened, we have actually book club in Medan. It called as the one Beyond the Pages. So it happened that I joined that book club. So one of my friends brought this. As soon as I read this one, I think that I need to buy the book. So by the time I directly order and get myself some time to read, yes, indeed, it is a very good book. That is the no.
Okay, thank you. And what are the books similar to this?
The Five People You Meet in Heaven.
How about that when breath becomes air? Isn't that the same? Similar almost.
Have you
Don't-
ever read both? Have you the that's the one with the cover of medical doctors, right? Pipit?
Yes, that one I know. Yeah, when
Oh,
breath becomes fire. But Five People in Heaven I also never heard.
oh no.
Mm.
Okay, I think Donald, you should, if yeah. So,
Okay, thank you. So
Thank
goodbye.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Suryani, for bringing up this book. I think I have to find it somewhere here because I still have the for one more day and the five people you met in heaven. But Finding Chica is still on its way to my home. I just order it. Also by Mitch Albom. But Finding Chica is about his personal journey towards finding his adoptive daughter. So it's a mix. It's kind of a mix between nonfiction and fiction because it's based on his story. Thank you, Suryani. So, Pipit, are you ready or you need some more time after?
If there's anyone else, please go first.
Because Fajar I'll go the last. So, and Fajar still prepare the
Oh,
article.
I can do it now. Yes.
Sure.
All right. Let
Please
me
go
check
on.
my. Okay. So here's the thing. Oh my goodness. Wait, I need to go to the car. Someone else first, please.
Fajar, are you ready?
Okay, I will just say whatever I have in mind.
Sure.
All right. Can I share screen? Can you
Sure.
allow?
I think wait, what is oh, you need to send request first to Pipit.
I already.
Oh, okay.
Pipit, can you allow it?
She's going back to the car, so I think you can just start.
Okay. I will just, while waiting for Pipit, I will just share what I have in mind lah ya. All right. So now I will decline. Okay. I will share about my experience exploring about nutrition. The journey starts when I start regularly going to the gym, and there is evidence that says if someone want to either build muscle or losing weight, the most important part is not the exercise itself, but the most important part is the nutrition. There is a saying that muscle is made in kitchen, not in the gym. Yeah. There is also even say that 80% of your progress for your body is from food, not just exercise. Exercise is only like 20%. So that's why that what I discover, if anyone would like to lose their fat, let's say, the most important part is not running or but to control your diet. Along the way, I try to calculate the nutrition that I have because I am kind of a geek. So basically what I do usually if I uh, just do a very basic food, I eat like quite a lot of chicken because it's uh, the cheapest source of protein. As you can see, it's really good. I mean, I reach maybe I reached the goal lah, yeah. Although it's kind of where is that? Protein, yeah. The protein is already is kind of high, but you know, it already reached for the level of for gym goers. But at the same time, it's kind of concerning because as you can see, oh, the vitamin is very lacking. Like it's almost empty. Uh, Also the calcium is also empty. The sodium, well, the sodium is fine, like because it's salt. People like salt. Zinc is also not enough. The water, and as from now on, I start to realize, oh, maybe I should start to think about the nutrition as well because I want to live a long life, of course. Now I have already upgraded the food, so I added I had already ate some food that I regularly consume. So for example, I eat like some juice of papaya, cabbage, and then carrots, and then I get all of this. Boom. ANC and then K. And actually, the price of the juice itself is incredibly cheap. Like if you go to like the regular juicer, maybe like 10K, maybe like or even 50K or even 20K. But if you make it at home, it's maybe like around 3,000 for one glass. So and also and usually the juicer outside they use so much sugar, right? So it's not very healthy. And then um, what other thing that I found is that usually Indonesian don't especially office worker, yeah, they usually don't consume enough vitamin D. Vitamin D is usually we can get it naturally by getting sunlight, but we are we rarely go outside, right? Other than during the transportation. So most of the time people are lacking with this. Uh, Actually, we can just simply consume it by using vitamin supplement, and actually you don't have to consume a fancy expensive like 200K supplement. You can just get a EP supplement. EP supplement is like maybe like 30 tablets, and it's already like 10.000. So compared to Blackmore's, like Blackmore's, it can be like 150K for like 30 tablets. So that's very big difference. Um, what else? Oh yeah, the vitamin K is also important. Vitamin E also you can get it via supplement EP. So yeah, very cheap, like only 10,000 uh for every 30 tablets. So incredibly cheap lah. Uh, And also, I noticed that sometimes I start to forgetting some stuff. Like I sometimes forget the names of people, forget the name of place or something. So I was thinking that maybe I can try to get omega-3 as well, yeah, because omega-3 is very important to help the brain, and you can just simply consume like 100. I mean, the cheapest option is like 100 tablets for 120K compared to Blackmore. It's like 30 tablets, 120K. So yeah, that's really good option. And I think Indonesian rarely consume this because, well, usually we consume chicken, right? And chicken doesn't actually has some much. They don't have many omega-3. And oh yeah, there's also some facts that omega-3 eggs actually contains very little omega-3. So, and I think that it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And at the same time, the yellow color from the omega-3 chicken is food coloring actually. So basically the chicken producer they just make the chicken eat a lot of carrot, so the egg become orange. So but doesn't necessarily mean that it can contains a lot of omega-3. So I think that it's better to just get some tablets of omega-3, and it's much really worth it. I also get some. Oh yeah, konsumsi kalsium around Indonesia is very low. As you can see that because I don't consume many uh milk, so it's only like 22%, right? So it's very low. And my family also don't consume so many milk. Maybe at most cheese sometimes. So what you can do is just to simply add EP supplement, very cheap as well, maybe like 10K, and then you can consume like uh 2 or 3 tablets a day, and that will be sufficient for you to to get the minimum requirement. And also, oh yeah, the zinc, yeah. Oh yeah, and also anyone if you are also have problems with acne, zinc is also very helpful for acne. So if you have sufficient acne, so if you have sufficient zinc in your blood, it will decrease the severity of your acne. So there's a study that says that if you have low zinc, it usually makes the acne much worse. Okay, and what else? A lot, pokoknya banyak sih. I learned a lot lah along the way. And actually, like a few days ago, I went to a nutrition specialist doctor, and I got tested. And so because I feel that I'm sok tahu, you know, I'm sok tahu with this kind of thing. So I went there and to check things, whether whether my meal plan is correct or not. And he said, "Oh, it's really good." Maybe he just add some stuff, but for the most part, I already know what he's saying. Although to be honest, I thought I register to the nutrition specialist for about 200K, but after I come home, I have to pay 300K more because I use some kind of machine. So I was kind of surprised. I thought it's like 200K, it's like all in, but it was like the total is for 500K. So I was like, if I knew it was 500K, I wouldn't go there, to be honest. But yeah, udahlah, never mind. But at least I use some kind of fancy machine, so I got some report about how much calorie that I can consume. But actually, to be honest, for the most part, the knowledge that the doctors share is available in Google. To be honest, it's not really hard, unless you have a very specific need, then you can Google it, to be honest, or you can TikTok it to find the relevant information. Okay, what else? Oh yeah, not consuming. Oh yeah, I think this is the one from doctor. Not consuming enough fiber, but eating a lot of meat can lead to colon cancer. I mean, B12 is important, but excessive consumption may lead to acne breakout. More excessive, oh yeah, yeah. Jadi don't consume too much B12. Milk and whey may also lead to acne. Food with high glycemic index more acne. Yeah, well, I'm acne sufferer, so I care a lot about that. Okay, all in all, for regular Indonesians, usually they are lacking with the calcium because we don't really consume milk that much. For the what else? Also, the sodium usually is very high because we love MSG, we love salt. We also consume so much oil but at the same time, oil is like one of the most dense calorie food. So please avoid deep fried food as much as possible. And then usually the nutrition that Indonesian lacks are like D. C is if you don't consume enough fruits. Also K and also A. Uh, okay. I think maybe that's all.
Thank you, Fajar. Is this is the report came from an app or from your recent visit to the nutritionist? The one
It's
that has very specific, like magnesium this percent, calcium this percent.
at least from this, I mean, I will just share the mana ya, there's a particular website that already provide that. So like say magnesium, yeah, or magnesium. Basically the minimum is 420 milligram. So okay, but if you let's say already put in the food that you consume, it will make some adjustment. So as you can see that now it's complete. So it's very convenient. You can just simply use, and it's also free of charge. You just
Okay.
have to put the correct item over here. Okay.
Okay. It's interesting. But one thing I'd like to highlight is you mentioned that we need to kind of avoid the deep fried food. But as Indonesian, as MSG generation, and as what do you call geng gorengan, it's pretty hard. And because it's almost everywhere and it's in you can say that it's in our culture anyway. So gorengan, it's like all the tahu, tempe, and then bakwan. What else? Risol. Everything it's deep fried. So it's another challenge for us, especially to avoid that kind of food. But anyway, it's Ramadan, so I kind of reduce it as well. So
Oh yeah, from what I research, when it comes to losing weight, actually it takes a long time to lose weight, like maybe like at least 2 months of dieting, of consistent, and well, it's not it's totally not enough. So at least for me, while I don't have that many fat, maybe it's better to prevent lah, rather than fixing fat body. Yeah, because 2 months or 3 months of 6 months of not enough, not eating good food is kind of suffering. Okay.
thank you. Anyone would like to add opinions or comments? Otherwise, we will go to Pipit.
Okay.
Are you here already?
Well, I'm in the hair salon right now.
Mhm.
So if yeah, okay lah. Hey. Okay, so
Okay.
I have an event tonight. So actually, I was about to review slavery in the United States, and I have finished that one from the Witness to History book. But I left it in my school. I thought I had the summary as well, but then I realized the summary was also inside the book. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share a different book called The Vietnam War. I'm only 70% finished with the book, but I have several reflection already, so I'm just gonna go with it rather than not presenting anything. So the book I'm reading now is The Vietnam War from the Witness to History series. I really like the series. The same series I've been reading for the past year, I think. I have read like 7 or 8 books from this series. And this is the one in the next on the shelf, basically. That's just randomly taken from that, the Vietnam War. The key takeaways that I found is I just realized there are so many things I did not know about the Vietnam War. For example, the fact that, well, I knew they were colonized by France, right? So they used to be colonized by France. They called French Indochina, but I didn't know that they were colonized for a long time. For example, before French came there, they were colonized by China for 1,000 years. Did you guys know? So China used to colonize Vietnam for 1,000 years, and then before it landed in the hand of France. And then when the Viet's people revolted against France, the US helped France financially to keep Vietnam. So this was really interesting because what's funny is when Vietnam declared independence, Ho Chi Minh, the father of Vietnam, basically copied the Declaration of Independence. Copied the Declaration of Independence from the US that, all men created equal, and we find it self-evident. All of the words, like almost word by word. He just made only few changes, but in reality, it was US actually who had the interest to keep Vietnam colonized by France. And I put here in my research, I need to find out why, basically. So in my note, if there are things I want to research more, I will remind myself in the terms of R, means research. This is R, research. And funny enough, even when the US helped France financially, Vietnam still won. Still won the war, even after France was financially helped by the US. And it's not just a paltry donation. Actually, 80%, yeah. 80% of the French war effort was funded by the US. 80%. Can you guys imagine? So it raised two questions. Number one, why did the US had so much interest to keep Vietnam under French rule, even when that time communism was not a big threat just yet. So if it happened in late 1950s or early 1960s, when the the US public was so scared of communism, all of these things, the Red Scare, I, I could understand it. But this actually happened well before the threat about communism. So I was wondering why the US wanted to help France that much until they funded 80% of their war effort. And number two, why even after doing all of this, they still lost physically. So this is very interesting in my opinion. And then, oh yeah, when I said earlier how Ho Chi Minh used Declaration of Independence to declare independence for Vietnam, he pointed out the hypocrisy of the French philosophy and the US philosophy. You know how French people were so famous for their French Revolution? Like what is it called? Fraternity, liberty, that egalitaire or fraternitaire and something, three of them, right? So how they champion equality and all of this, little people, long live little people, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, on the other hand, they colonize other human beings, basically. So they only want equality for themselves, but not for other people. This is also, I did not know that France also colonized Syria and Lebanon that time. Did you guys know that Syria and Lebanon used to be under French rule? And then when France wanted to liberate the colony after World War II, for some reasons, they were able to free Syria and Lebanon. They were okay to let these two areas go and other colony go, but they did not want to lose Vietnam, they said. So Indochina was one of the last, if not the last, territory under French colony that was actually let go to be free. Yeah, they were considered too precious to let go. Oh, and you know what's interesting is when Vietnam was divided into two, North and South Vietnam. North is communist and South is capitalist, right? But both sides actually committed election frauds, even when they used two different government systems. Obviously, the communist side did not have elections, right? So they just had their own leader, Ho Chi Minh. But then even the South Vietnam, they had quote unquote an election, but the outcome or the result is already predetermined, basically. So what's the point? It's the same thing between North and South, because in the end, the people were not the one who chose the leader. But what's even crazier is that most of Vietnamese were actually Buddhists. Yeah, until now, Buddhist is the biggest religion. But the government that time in South was actually the majority of them were Catholic. If not all of them were actually Catholic government. So they only chose people who had Catholic religion to be in the government in South Vietnam. That is another thing that I wanted to research. Why the Buddhist community were not given any political power, even though they were the majority. So I don't know whether it's a coincidence that the government were only Catholics, but also, or is it because it was instructed by France or the US? I don't know. So that is I need to research more about it. And then the US, when they wanted to interfere in Vietnam, they tried to do it in a secret way. They don't want to even call the soldiers they sent to Vietnam as soldiers. they call these people advisors. So they send 100,000 advisors to Vietnam. But in reality, these people were soldiers. They were the ones who flew the fighter jets and whatever, blah, 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 right? So they call them advisors. And 28% who got killed and injured from the US and South Vietnamese armies were actually caused by bamboo traps. Yeah, this is, I think, in the book, they show the bamboo trap on like a animal trap. Very, what is it called? Modest, but it turned out to be that. Oh, now this one is also interesting. The US military harassed a lot of civilians because they could not tell which one supported the Viet Cong and which one did not. Basically. So the Viet Cong or the communist Vietnamese, the Viet Cong and their supporters were so good at hiding their identity. That's why the US military was somehow could not tell. So what happened is they harassed almost everyone because they suspected everyone was the member of the Viet Cong. Right? So they could not do their farming in peace. They could not do their like a trade and market in peace. And this is the reason why people supported the Viet Cong. So the action of the US military themselves, who could not differentiate the Viet Cong supporters and regular people, were the one that made even more people supporting Viet Cong. And even though their tagline or the US tagline is actually winning the hearts and minds of the Vietnamese, but their attitude themselves were very racist, basically. So they also took their property and all of this, like harass them, blah blah blah. So basically, it's I don't know the leader in the military, even though they came up with this tagline, they try to win the mind and heart of the Vietnamese people, but it doesn't translate until the bottom line, basically, the people who actually made a contact with the population of Vietnam. So they are most of them racist. They came up with a lot of name calling that call Vietnamese in a derogatory manner. That one, oh yeah, because of mostly people in the villages were being accused of supporting Viet Cong. So because they were so tired of being harassed and being questioned and taken out of their house, sometimes put in a temporary prison and then returned to their home. This happened so many times. They got tired of this. So they moved to the city because Vietnamese who lived in the city were safer, at least, not compared to the one in the village. But this creates a lot of poverty in the city because they don't have any skills. They don't have any skills to survive in the city. They only knew about farming, things like that. But there was no farming opportunity in the city. So again, that create a population that was ready to be ignited, basically, to support the communist government. And this was taken advantage of because the pamphlet that was distributed in the market, trying to persuade them to side with the communists, suddenly was seen as a hope, not only because the South Vietnam government was actually corrupt already, right? They were corrupt. They were known to steal a lot of military aid from the US, was used for their own advantage and to enrich themselves. And the majority of the people were not given political power. So all of this combined, and also the US treatment towards them, all of this combined made them actually support the North Vietnamese now and wanted to see whether maybe Ho Chi Minh will give them hope, at least, because they don't know why, they don't know how he was, only in imagination, basically. So maybe then in their imagination, this guy cannot be worse than the one we have right now, something like that. So I think that's how they think. Last two things. Number one, the last one is Agent Orange, is the one that was famously used in Vietnam. I really thought it was an actual bomb all this time before reading the book. But as it turned out, Agent Orange was actually a type of chemical that was used to kill trees and plants, not even intended to kill people. So they dropped this Agent Orange bomb in this area is to kill a lot of trees and plants, so then the Viet Cong could not hide, because they like to hide in the bush, in the small forest, something like that. So if they killed all of these trees and plants, they had nowhere to help, nowhere to hide. And the impact on human is something that was unintended. So even the US themselves were uh, the US themselves were surprised that actually it can create a lot of damage to humans, basically. And again, this also angered the neutral Vietnamese who did not support the communist Vietnam earlier, but now after they saw the impact of Agent Orange, they became the supporter of the communist Vietnam. Last one is there's a really good book mentioned here, which made me want to read it. There was a memoir of one of the survivors of this Vietnam War, but the book had a really good review. Yeah, in this reviewed in this book, it's called "When Heaven and Earth Changed Places," and it talks about many different funny bits, such as this girl was trained to steal U.S. soldiers' boots, for example, because they said the US soldiers without boots could not do anything. Their feet could not handle the ground of the jungle, this like that. So basically, if you took their boots, you might as well as if you were able to kill them already. Like they could not survive in the jungle without their boots, for example. So that's one of the tiny bits of an excerpt from the book When Heaven and Earth Change Places. Okay, since I have not finished reading this, that was all I could learn from the book so far. Any question? Yes, liberté, égalité, fraternité. Yeah.
Anyone would like to ask questions to Vijay?
Yes, I have a question. So, based on the book and your understanding, what is the difference between Vietnam War against the France and against the US?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, what is the difference between the Vietnam War against France and against the US? These are two different periods, right?
Yeah, it's two different periods. Okay, what's the difference here in terms of the tactics or what is it? Or the reason or what?
Yeah, it can be the reason and maybe the reason why the foreigner lost. Is there any difference?
Oh yeah. Okay. So this is not from the book, but this is from the movie I watched about Vietnam War. I think the reason why the US, when it comes to US and Vietnam, yeah, the reason why the US pulled out of Vietnam is actually because of their own conscience. So if they wanted to, I think the US could have won in Vietnam if they went all out, because technologically wise, financial wise, the US was a lot more superior than Vietnam, even though when Vietnam was supported by China and Russia or USSR that time. Even when after they got supported by these two countries, the US was still the dominant power. But then, since this is around the fight for the civil rights, right? The flower generation, all of these things. People in the US were aware of they want peace and all of these things. So in the US, protests happen in all over the place. They even call themselves ghosts in the machine. Yeah. So I think the US was somehow brought down or not the US brought down, pulled out of Vietnam because of the pressure from their own people. Especially if you know the Kim Cook uh, image, yeah, that became the cover of Life magazine, and then subsequently produced over and over again. This one, right? This also was one of the catalysts that made people realize the reality of war, basically. So the reality of war in Vietnam was presented to the U.S. public, and then that prompted a lot of protests, and that somehow, um, pressurized the government. Now the thing is, because of the I think there was the leak in the Pentagon. So it's all the President Kingsmen. I think that's the name of the movie. So there was after a lot of analysis, they said that there's no way we can win this war, something. But then the government covered that up or something. I forgot. It's like years ago I watched the movie. But the intelligence documents got leaked and the public knew about it. And then that prompted them to revive the protest one more time. Finally, the government decided that they had to pull out. So Vietnam, in case of the fight against the US, they did not actually win, but the US decided to pull out. That's why until now, there are a lot of posters in Vietnam sold to the tourists that says, victory is still victory, no matter how it was, no matter how it happened or something like that. I actually bought one of those posters. It's in my house right now, with Ho Chi Minh sketches on in front. It says victory is still victory because their victory was questioned. Their victory was somehow like, you didn't actually win. You got lucky, something like that, right? So that's why they self-defend themselves by saying victory is still victory. While the Vietnam versus France, this one that I said I want to research more because I cannot believe how France, with all of that support from US, still lost the war. So that was interesting. Thank you for the question. Anything else?
Anyone else would like to ask about the Vietnam War books to Pipit?
No, so I will start putting on makeup now. All right.
Okay.
Good luck the next person.
Thank you, Pipit. So I think, okay, now it's my turn to explain about the books that I read. So, first of all, if I'm suddenly inaudible, sorry, because it's just raining. So the audio might, it's like a berantem between the sound of the rain and the sound of my voice. But anyway, this is my book. And then may I share the screen? Oh, okay. Okay. So is it already changed? Yep. So
Yes.
this is the book that I'm currently reading. It's called The Secrets of Divine Love, The Spiritual Journey into the Heart of Islam. It's because it's the holy month of Ramadan, and I based on my current group of like a kajian something. We decided to read something. Um, we have like this 30 days of reading something besides reciting Quran, but it should be still in the theme of Ramadan. So that's why I decided to read this book, The Secrets of Divine Love, and then the first and what the book is about, it's actually a bit more universal that I can think. It's because it mentioned love and love and love and love in every single chapter on the book. So, but the most what is it? The most key takeaway points from the very beginning, it's the importance of celebrating love in the most lovable way. So love is not only between two persons or between partners, but it can be towards ourselves, it can be towards our pet, if you have cats or dogs that you have currently, or it can be the love of your work, it can be anything. So um it's actually has that so many characteristics, and it can be it can be for anything. And then the reason why I decided to read this book is because it's the theme of Ramadan, and it's because part of my current and personal and group of kajian is currently aiming for right now. But it's also because of my one of my friends' recommendation, um and actually my friend who recommend this book she's actually Catholic. So uh the Catholic uh my Catholic best friend actually recommend me to read this book because she went to this bookstore and she said that this is, I think, really good for you, and she recommend to me just like that. And then number three, the key takeaways. It's because it's actually a self reminder for me because um the content of this book is actually like a praying and then like fasting and then what and then like um doing all those good deeds. So basically it's a reminder for me and to regain the knowledge because I heard about this long time ago, but um since it's not really the main theme or the main genre of book that keep on currently reading. So it's a nice self reminder for me. And then number four, and it's because this is a fasting month, the one whole month of fasting, and it's also mentioned here in the book. The book says that everyone actually, regardless of religion, they do have, or most people have their own way of fasting actually. And my friend who recommended me this book, she mentioned that once she was fasting, but her kind of fasting is actually very hard for me in a sense because correct me if I'm wrong, but Catholic, they do have this kind of fasting where they call it's I'm fasting, or I'm not allowed to eat, for example, chocolate. But she cannot mention that she cannot eat chocolate. But whenever there is chocolate offered to her, she can only say no thank you without mentioning the reason, without explaining why she decided to say no to chocolate. So um it's very hard and very challenging. I once tried it, but it can only last for like 3 days. I said no to gorengan. That's why Fajar mentioned about gorengan earlier. Then I remember, oh yeah, I had that similar experience. And then the other takeaways from this book is because the author itself, she mentioned for further reading, we could dig more about from the book of Stephen Hawking called The Beginning of Time. So this book, this title, also on my TBR list. I would like to know more about how we are here, how the humans and how the universe and stuff like that, but in a more scientific way. And then other key takeaways that it should be reminded, and I'll make a post on it next to my laptop, is to always feel thankful because gratitude is actually a lot more fulfilling compared to happiness. That's what the book mentioned here. So I think that's it. That's what I can explain about this book. I'll stop saying that. So this is it. Okay. Anyone?
Hello? Okay. So, Diaz, you usually decide about what to read book based on the month, right? I remember you read about Saladin or something. Now, what makes you suddenly read this one?
Oh, okay. So because it's the month of Ramadan, so I think it's about time to read something kind of a more spiritual or more with
I
that
mean,
Islamic
did you
theme.
decide it by yourself, or is that someone who suggests you, or is it from your kajian, like you said earlier?
It's a mix of everything. It's a mix of everything, and it's in good timing actually. So when the announcement of books to read was announced, that was when my friend recommended me this book. So I decided, oh, okay, why not read this book to be part of my personal journey or my personal task towards the kajian, and also because book brewers have another meeting for that happens on Ramadan itself. So uh, it's a mix of everything, and it's a good timing for me.
Because there are so many options, right? I was just
Yeah,
wondering.
yeah. A lot of options, but this one is the other reason why I choose this book and not the other book or maybe some similar book, because the language itself, the English is not that hard first, and then the second it's very poetic, but mm, not the one that's hard to digest. So it's very enjoyable, and but it's also I learn a lot and regain most of my knowledge from reading this book.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you. This is anyone else would like to, or maybe you would like to, because I do know that in our, at least in our 20 years of life, 20, if you're I believe everyone's past 20, there must be one time where you fasting, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Fajar, maybe when you had your intermittent fasting, maybe for diet, or when you unintentionally skip breakfast or skip lunch, it's actually towards fasting. So meaning that it's actually it's not that hard to conquer the hunger or to conquer the thirst, but it's when it comes to a 1 month, then it's another story and it's another personal journey actually. So that's what the book also mentioned here. I think that's it. That's what I can explain about the book. Anyone else would like to discuss or share your weekend plans that relates to a book?
I just want to comment a little about the further reading, right, from your book. This
Mhm.
Stephen Hawking, The Beginning of Time. Yeah, that
Mhm.
surprised me a little because, as far as I know, Stephen Hawking's view of the beginning of time is it doesn't need God
Mhm.
to start the universe. And this book is religious, so it's like the opposite. That's why I was a bit surprised.
That surprised me too. And uh in the appendix, and also in the notes, the author mentioned that if you would like to read more, or you would like to have to see more from other point of view, then she mentioned about the beginning of time. So what because I haven't read that beginning of time, what I can summarize, or maybe my first thoughts is, because she wanted to add that because according to this book, there are God created people in a very different ways. In what do you call- they have different characters, they have their own different opinions, and maybe she's pointing this book particularly uh to be the evidence of that point. So you know that when people think about the beginning of time, you may think about this, you may think about that, but there is also another thinkers that have his own book, which is Stephen Hawking. That's what I can that's what I can conquer. That's what I can summarize regarding that point. But I'm curious as well, so it's also on my TBR. If the book arrives early, then it will be my next month book discussion. Thank you, Donald, for the comment. Anything else, guys?
Maybe we can take picture, yes. Usually we take picture with books.
Okay. I think
Okay,
it is on makeup, or okay.
No, not yet. I
Oh,
was
not yet.
listening. No,
Okay.
I mean not makeup yet, but it's okay. I'll just post it.
Can we take the picture?
I can take photo,
Okay.
yes. Everyone, put up your book. 1, 2. Fajar, up. Cannot see the book. Mandiri, okay. Mandiri Matematika always. All right, thank you. Got it.
Why Matematika book, Fajar? Oh my God.
Yeah,
He
because
is.
It's your high school
He's-
book, right?
No, he's a math teacher, math
Okay.
professor. Actually,
Yeah, yeah,
professor,
yeah.
yeah.
one that I have is like math books for high school.
I see.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
professor, but just a teacher.
yeah. Okay. So for next month, for April next month,
What date, yeah?
I think April 12th, if I'm not mistaken.
April
Should we
12th.
ask Fajar to be the moderator? Don't know. Whose turn?
Yeah, I haven't checked yet.
I think
Okay.
I'm okay for me to be
Okay,
moderator.
Fajar.
So April 12th.
Yeah, remember.
Okay.
Yeah, please
Okay,
just
so next month, 12th of April, yeah. Suryani, 12th of April next month, if you're interested to come again.
Oh yeah, by the
Okay.
way, my schedule is already free for the Saturday noon, so it's possible for me.
All right. Okay.
Mm.
Next month, Fajar moderating.
Thank you,
Okay,
Fajar.
bye. Have a
Thank you,
nice Saturday.
everyone.
Bye
Have a good
everyone. Thank
weekend.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.